All right, I think that we are live. I just need to get this video to connect over on the YouTube side so we can grab the link and put it in our community over on Facebook. Okay, thank you for cooperating and giving me this link all quick. YouTube, some mornings you my best friend, I swear. All right, we got it over there. So, speaking of our Facebook community, our Facebook group, if you are a solopreneur or an entrepreneur who is struggling to get to your first six figures in business, you want to be in our group. It is free. It is said to have the value of a paid mastermind. You need to be in there. shaycannon.info/group. We have three value pillars. Number one, we actually build community. We come together and commune. In fact, this week is movie night. Movie club night is this Thursday where we come together and discuss movies and pull out the business nuggets. So, number two, we actually collaborate. We come together to make our businesses better and to make money together. And last but not least, number three, we have conversations that are transformational to your business growth, kind of like this one on the morning show. We have free trainings. In fact, there was a free training on last week. So there are a few free trainings waiting in the group for you right now so you can immediately get value. shaycannon.info/group. All right, let's get started. Good morning. Welcome to Unlock Your First Six Figures morning show. I am your host, Shay Cannon. Everything that we do here starts with a blog. So go to shaycannon.com/protect because this week, what we're talking about is the top safeguards you need to protect your small business. Okay. So let's see. What you need to understand is the bigger you get, the more protections you need. The more money you make, the more protections you need. Yes, we should start off with these protections, but sometimes we don't realize or we don't have the budget for the protections. So, what I want you to do is listen with your best listening ears so you can start prioritizing these protections. So, as your budget allows, as that sense of priority allows, you put these things in place. Okay. So we got four different categories we're talking about this week. The first category was insurance. We talked about six different insurances you need in your business. If you want to check that out, go to part one's replay that was yesterday. Today we're on part two, and we're going to talk about legal protections that you need. Now, we're just talking about the least of the protections. We're not talking about an extensive, comprehensive, all the protections you'll ever need, but we want to get you started. All right. So, in the legal protection, let me give you the list from the blog. We got banks, business tax structure, we got license and permits, we have contracts, we have intellectual property. I was going to say interstellar. Going to tell you what kind of books I've been reading lately, right? Employment law and regulatory compliance. Okay. Business tax structure, licenses and permits, contracts, intellectual property, employment law, and regulatory compliance. So that's what's in the blog. As you know, on the morning show, we give you more. So let's dive into each one of these, okay? So listen closely. I want to know from you, did one surprise you? And which one do you know you need to take care of as soon as possible, okay? Now, business structure. What it is the legal framework that's really like the tax structure of your business. So that's all your sole proprietorship, partnership, LLC, and corporation. That's really all that is. It's a tax identity structure for your business. Okay. So what it protects, it can protect your personal assets from the business liabilities. It determines your tax obligations and it influences your management structure. Because as you go into the LLC and corporations, what could happen is there's a defined structure that has to be in place. All right. Why is it important? Because the right structure affects your liability or how much of it you have to shoulder. Okay. It affects your taxation, how much you end up having to pay. It indicates what kind of requirements you need by law to run as a business, and it provides a foundation for your legal and financial protections. Okay. The type of attorney you need for that is a corporate attorney, or nowadays they're calling them business attorneys. Okay. Now, the second category was contracts and agreements. What is it? Legally binding documents outlining the terms and conditions of business relationships, including clients, suppliers, and your team, right? So, what does it protect? It protects your business by clearly defining the expectations, responsibilities, and remedies of breaches of contract. Okay. So all of that oral stuff you're doing, not good enough. If you want to go to court, if you want to really be protected, we need actual documentation. All right. And since you don't know what you're doing, and LegalZoom can't tell you give you protection over your particular situation, we probably need an attorney, right? So a contract attorney or a corporate attorney are the usual attorneys for contracts, okay? And the reason why it's important is because we want well-drafted contracts to prevent misunderstandings, disputes, provide the correct legal recourse, and to protect the things we in particular know we need protecting for our particular business. Okay. So when you go on the internet and you get these drafts of these templates and all that, I'm not going to tell you they're not going to work. What I'm going to tell you is that they are not taking your individual business's need into consideration. They're taking the average business need into consideration. So that's why you might want to look at an attorney, but start where you can. All right. Now, the third category was intellectual property protection. All right. What is it? It's legal rights granted to creations from your mind, such as trademarks, patents, and copyrights. Okay. What does it protect? It protects names, logos, inventions, creative works from unauthorized users, from them using it or claiming it. Okay. So why is it important? Because protecting your intellectual property ensures that you have exclusive rights and that you can monetize other people using your stuff. Okay. What type of attorney? Intellectual property attorney, IP attorney. Okay. So let me give y'all a little hint on that. So I have courses that I am going to license, right? So that means I'm going to give other companies the right to use some of my courses. And so I need a licensing agreement. Now, what my IP attorney told me was what I first need for that same course is I first need a trademark on it. I need a copyright on it, and then she will do my licensing agreement. So these protections are different, okay? A trademark is usually for a mark, okay, or a name, all right? Copyright is for the actual content, okay? So nobody can use my content if I have a copyright on it. Nobody can use the name that I use or the symbol that I use if I have a trademark on it, okay? And then the licensing agreement is going to talk about, how much money they have to pay, how long they can use it for, how many people can use it, that type of thing, just to give you a heads up on that. All right, let's go into the next one, employment law. Okay. As we get into leaving VAs and using contractors and that type of thing, and we start to go into W-2 employees, but even with contractors and even with using people from across the sea that are not a part of agencies, if you're hiring an individual or a contractor, not an agency or a business, you still have to keep in mind employment law. Okay, so what is it? Adhering to federal and state laws governing, can't even speak this morning, your relationship with your team member. Okay, that includes the hiring, the wages, workplace safety, and anti-discrimination policies. What does it protect? It protects against legal claims from your team members regarding unfair practices, fair and compliant work environment, and even sometimes, unlawful termination, right? So those types of things. Why is it important? Because compliance with employment laws avoids costly lawsuits, fines, and reputational damage, okay? It fosters a positive workplace culture. Now, you also may need an attorney here. They're called a labor and employment attorney or an employment attorney, okay? You also may need them even if you have contractors, because you want to make sure that the way you are conducting business does not make you have a W-2 employee, even though you're labeling them as a contractor, okay? So this is where some HR experts can come in, some labor and employment attorneys can come in and look at the structure of how you're working with these people to determine if you were to be sued, would you have to pay that person like a W-2 back pay? And then they look at every team member you got, okay? So keep that in mind. Regulatory compliance. This is not for all of us, but it is for some of us, right? For example, there are some industries that are very strict on some things or need certain requirements, okay? So if you're in one of those industries, what it does is it ensures that your business adheres to all applicable laws and regulations, including industry-specific requirements. It protects the business from legal penalties, fees, and operational shutdowns due to non-compliance. So why is that important? Okay, because staying compliant avoids legal issues and allows you to keep making money and operate smoothly. Now, there are such a thing as regulatory compliance attorneys. You want to find one that is working in your particular area. So I'll tell you, in studio, we have Dr. LaFera. Dr. LaFera is going into being a healthcare advocate. When she starts to work with hospitals and stuff like that, she might want to bring in a regulatory and compliance attorney to look at that relationship. They got HIPAA, they got a whole bunch of stuff going on, right? So you got to think about it. Let me tell you, when I worked in the hospital, really, you know how you go to the nurse's station and they may have those patient charts up on the counter. They're actually not supposed to do that. That's not HIPAA compliant. You're not supposed to be able to see even a patient's name for real. Okay, so there are small little things that can get you in big trouble when you're in certain industries and you want to protect yourself from that. All right. Business licenses and permits. Basically, depending on how you operate a business and where your business is domiciled, you may be required to actually pay into the county, the city, and to the local area for a business license or a permit. Depends on how you do stuff. For example, in studio, we have Kimberly. Kimberly sometimes does these vending events, right? Sometimes, depending on where you're located or where that event is located, they require that you have a permit, even if it's a temporary one or a limited time one, to do that kind of stuff. Because some of these festivals and vending opportunities are outside. Some of them are a part of organizations that don't have like a standing structure by where they're having this type of stuff. You might need a permit and don't even know it, right? So it just depends on where. So a corporate attorney could tell you that, but really, you don't really need an attorney. Call the county office, call the city office to see what you need, and they will tell you, because trust me, they talk about it and be about it all day long. Okay, so we're going around in studio. I want to know, which one do you know you need to put in as soon as possible? And was there one that surprised you that you was like, oh, I didn't think of that? Okay, so we're going to start with Dr. LaFera. Which one are you going to put into place as soon as possible? And was there one that surprised you? We're going to give Dr. LaFera time to unmute.
So eventually, I guess I will do the regulatory lawyer, regulatory and compliance. I already have been dealing with the trademarking attorney. I'm trying to get back to the notes I wrote. So I've already been working with the trademarking, the intellectual property attorney. But I guess I probably also need to look at the corporate and business attorney too. So yeah, so I'll listen to everybody else to see how I can incorporate that and where I should incorporate that.
Cool beans. No problem, no problem. All right. And I will tell y'all about these trademarks, right? Trademarks, they're not too expensive. If you do them yourself, right? I think the trademark itself may be under $400. But when you're thinking about whether or not you need a trademark attorney or not, again, it's the same thing as the contract attorney. If you don't know what words to use to make sure you are fully trademark protected, or that you can expand what your trademark is protecting, then that's when you need to consult somebody else, right? Yes, it's easy to fill out the paperwork and possibly even get it approved, but did you get it approved for the right thing? Did you protect the right stuff or all of the right stuff? Those are the kind of questions you may have. And another thing I'm going to say is, don't jump right out to go get a trademark, because at the end of the day, it's not like reserving a Facebook social media name. Okay. You want to make sure that this thing that you're trademarking is going to actually be something that's tried, true, proven, you're going to use, because it's an investment. So we don't just go trying to trademark every idea we have. Flush out that idea. Make sure that it's proven. Make sure that you can actually make money from it. Make sure that your ideal clients actually want it, right? All of these things. So I'm gonna tell you what I tend to do is I tend to go with an idea. I put my TM up by it to trade, let the people know I have an intention to trademark this name. You know what I'm saying? I start the clock. I have a document where I kind of have all the names that I'm using. I have the start date that I start using it. I have a screenshot of where I searched it in the trademark, search the actual trademark search, right? From the trademark people. I have all of that on a running document so that when I want to go back and register, if somebody else has registered or somebody else is trying to register when I register, I have proof that I actually started the use of this thing first. Okay. So consider that. Now, there is no poor man's copyright and poor man's trademark where you can send it to yourself and do the saying have the post date on it and then don't open it unless you go to court. That don't work for copyright. I need y'all to know that doesn't work. Whoever filed the actual copyright for the content is going to be the one with the copyright. You mailing it to yourself for the price of a stamp is not going to work. Okay, so keep that in mind. All right, Dr. Toya, which one do you know you need to put into place as soon as possible, and was there one that surprised you?
Yeah, definitely the intellectual property is like the bane of my existence that I need to get on top of.
Yeah.
But no, that's the only one.
Cool beans. And I'll tell you, some of the IP attorneys in my network, you got Takora Davis, Savania, what's Savania's last name? Let me find Savania's last name. DeBarris. I'll put those in the show notes. But basically, every now and then, y'all, they'll run a special where they'll do like a collection of 3 trademarks for you for like a lower price. And it's like a no-brainer. So just watch out for some of these IP attorneys. It's not, I mean, even though that's a legal field, they have discounts and specials and stuff too, because they're private practice. So look out for that. All right, Dewana, which one do you know you need to put into place as soon as possible? And was there one that surprised you?
Can you run down the list just one more time? I know I need to put the
Okay.
trademark, I mean, not the trademark, but the intellectual property in place.
Okay.
Um,
Let me give y'all the list again. Bank, I don't know why I keep saying bank. Business tax structure, licenses and permits, contracts, intellectual property, employment law, regulatory compliance.
yeah, so intellectual property is the one that most would apply to me.
Cool beans. Love it. That's probably the one that applies to most of us. And that
Mhm.
y'all can't escape contracts. Because let me tell you, even in your websites, even in your courses, you have what's called terms and conditions. Those are contracts. And if you wanted to actually protect you from something, might want to make sure it says the right thing. Okay, so let's go to Dr. Tachi. And while we're going to Dr. Tachi, let's say good morning to Chantilly over here on YouTube. We got Keith over here. We got Glow over here. And I want to welcome Chantilly to our Facebook group because she joined from YouTube. So welcome into the group, Chantilly, about to get all of that good stuff. If you didn't read your welcome post, Chantilly, there is value already waiting for you. There are free trainings in there. There are past morning shows. There are past show notes. So, hey, get it going. shaycannon.info/group if you want to be in the group too. All right, Dr. Tachi, which one do you know you need to put in place as soon as possible? And was there one that surprised you? And let's see. There you go.
Contracts and employment.
Oh, yes. Yep. That was, hey, we no need to say more. That was very understood right there. All right. Kimberly is at the Dream Funder. What Kimberly said, I keep saying bank. I do, because I keep thinking bank structure, because what I know is most of those tax structures are what's needed when you go to get like bank loans and SBA loans, when you want certain grants and all of that kind of stuff. That's when it becomes more and more that you need those things. When you want to go and get these certifications like woman owned, minority owned, all that, they want all of that to be the correct tax structure. So that's why I keep, because in my mind, I'm like, if you're ever looking for funding, that's going to be an important thing. So Kimberly said she's going to do the IP, and she said business. I don't know what she means by business. I guess she means either the structure or maybe, I don't know what you're talking about, Kimberly, with business, because that's just the type of attorney. Look, so IP and business, that didn't help me. Okay, Debbie, which one do you know you need to put in place as soon as possible? And was there one that surprised you?
I think when you mentioned online courses, because I've been thinking about that. So that would be intellectual property.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. And I also read someplace that if you're going to speak someplace and they're videotaping it, you need to make sure to check with them about the policy as far as reusing your speeches or discussions. So I don't know what attorney that would fall under, but
That's contract. But what I'll tell you is most speakers have to sign a speaker contract. Even for these virtual summits and stuff.
mm-hmm.
The virtual summit I had, where I had over 30 speakers, every
Yeah.
one of them signed a speaker contract. And if they didn't sign, they didn't have to worry about being on my summit. And so now I can use that content. I can use it for bonuses for other stuff. I mean, I could use it for free. I can sell it as a pack. I can do anything I want to do based on the contract I put in place with every person that spoke. And so, you know, sometimes from the outside looking in,
Mm-hmm.
we entrepreneurs are very good at trying to reverse engineer when we weren't an engineer in the first place. So you have to be careful. Just because you see people having summits and then using these sessions from other people, other places, you don't know what contract was in place. You don't know
Mm-hmm.
what relationship was in place. Stop just copying folks and you don't know nothing about it, is what I'll say. Because I don't care how close most people that I had to talk, I love them. Dr. Tachi was a MC, right?
Mm-hmm.
And a few people spoke, love them. But contracts and stuff and agreements are not for when you're in love. They're for when you're not. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
So when you fall out of love, are you still protected? So yeah, that's what they're for.
Okay.
Cool beans. Okay, let's go to Cheryl. Cheryl, which one will you need to put in place as soon as possible? And did any one of them confuse you or not confuse you? Was surprising to you?
Surprised me? No, they didn't surprise me. Having as a literary agent, I deal with contracts all the time. However, I had an incident that happened that kind of opened my eyes to the mindset of some of our clients these days, and I was very blessed in that PayPal put a stop to them, but it made me realize I need to go to a more formal contract, where you make sure the commas are in the right place, because a comma in the wrong place can cost you buku money. So for me, it's always up leveling the intellectual property. And please know, if you're doing books and you get all these free ISBNs, please know that a free ISBN does not list you as the publisher of that book. And if, let's say, and of course, somebody said, well, this won't happen with Amazon, but I'll use Amazon as an example. If Amazon ever goes out of business and you had that free ISBN, your book is now in limbo after all the printed copies are sold. And about the only place they'll be able to find your book is a used bookstore, which means that you're getting no more royalties, and it's a whole mess. And somebody said, well, Amazon's not going to go out of business. More than likely, that's true. However, in this climate, I'm better safe than sorry. But Create Space, who was actually printing the books for Amazon, went out of business, and in order to save everybody's books, Amazon bought Create Space so that these people could still stay published, but they still have those free ISBNs. Go to Boker. There's only one place to get your legitimate ISBN, and that's Boker, or it's also myidentifiers.com. So I'll leave it at that.
That was good. That was good. Thank you for that, Cheryl. All right, to Ray, which one of these legal protections do you know you need to put in place as soon as possible? And was there one that surprised you?
None of them surprised me. I know intellectual property and contracts like everybody, but I want to use licenses and permits. So I have a plan to start doing some training videos. Like I want to create a membership and I want to do training videos, but I want to be able to sell them. Like as you know, what I mean? Like what you're doing.
Licensing.
Right. I want to be able to do that.
Most definitely.
But
Love it.
yeah.
So
Yeah.
what you know is you got to start with a trademark, then you got to, well, this is not the order, but you need a trademark and a copyright of the material, trademark of the name, copyright of the
Mhm.
material, before they would do the licensing agreement. Now, let me tell you, the name that you actually licenses it under doesn't have to be the same name that you sell it under. You know what I'm
Right.
saying? Two
Mhm.
different names. So the one that you're trademarking is the one that you want to use for the actual licensing relationship,
Mhm.
because I have a version of mine that I sell. It's more robust than the one I give license for other people to sell. And then I bring out just the basic nuggets for licensing, like, the real A to B goes to the license. It could
Uh,
have a different name.
got
Does
it.
that make sense? Cool beans, cool
I
beans.
don't know why I thought it would be like franchising.
It kind of is. It just depends,
Uh,
because licensing, think about all the rights that are out there for licensing. There are master resale rights where people
mhm.
can just resell your stuff, almost like an affiliate relationship, right?
Right.
There is private label rights where they can take your stuff, they can name it, they can brand
Right.
it, whatever, right?
Right.
And then there's the licensing where they have to use your name and how you have it out there, right?
Mm.
So there are different ways to do it,
I
different.
see.
So
Got it.
that's a part of you having to think through, and some of
Right.
that is why you need the attorney.
Got it.
Dr. LaFera said, "Would you trademark or copyright a quote for a tagline?" That's a part of a trademark. So, and really, yeah, that's a part of a trademark, and it could be a different trademark than the actual name of the product, right? So, just do it is a different trademark than Nike. Okay. All right. So some people trademark their tagline. Some people just make it so famous it's associated with the name that they trademark. So I'm gonna tell you, don't be out here trying to legally protect stuff you don't really care about. Okay, please don't do that. We're not, because it's about the protection that you need. It's not a flex to spend money on stuff that you didn't need to invest in, right? So a tagline, I don't care if somebody uses my tagline. I care if you use the name of my product, the name of my company. You see what I'm saying? So what you're protecting is actually what you care about somebody else using. Don't just go out here spending money for no reason. All right. Over on the YouTube side, Chantilly said, yes, she did read the welcome post and commented on it. And she's excited to be in the group, shaycannon.info/group. You could be in the group too. It's free. And then she said she's going to do work on her business tax structure, intellectual property, and her trademarking system. Love it. Love it. All right. Let me show y'all something, because I got to as part of our announcements. Y'all be thinking if you have another question. When you go into the group, right? Tonight is the watch party, y'all, for the second episode of our Indie Soup Media Network show, Design Your CEO Life. I will be in the comments of the show live. So y'all join us for that. That is tonight. Go in the group and you could have the or just go to the Indie Soup Media YouTube page. That's the comments I'll be in live tonight. It is a featured post. So you can find that as a featured post. Let's go back. But Cheryl asked which movie won. You can also go back to featured posts, and I think Joy did win. Well, at least right now it's winning. Y'all got into midnight tonight to vote on the movie that we are discussing on Thursday. Remember, it's movie club. It's like book club. So that means you read the book, you watch the movie before we meet, and we're going to discuss and pull out all the business nuggets. All right. So That's what's going on as a part of our announcements. Does anybody have any questions about what we talked about so far this week about protections, either insurances or legal? Anybody have a question before we go on with the announcements and get out of here?
This is Cheryl.
Hey, Cheryl.
One of the things that I discovered 2 weeks ago is we definitely want to license our processes. I had a pick your brain session, and I do a process called the bestseller drive. And you get your book on the bestseller list.
Yeah.
And this person thought that they could do a pick your brain session and know how to do the bestseller drive, which right now is a done for you with me. And it hit me that, you know what, this is a process. You need to license this process and then turn it into an affiliate kind of thing, if nothing else. But it is licensed. So, be very careful, I would say, about divulging your processes, because especially if they're a major moneymaker for you. If this is, one of your top dollar things, think very carefully about what you release, um, to people, because other people will go and license it. And now you're locked out of your own process.
Yes. And I will tell you that some of the protections that I had in mind for that is some of it is write a book about your process and then copyright your book. Now your whole process is copyright protected, right? That's the content. So don't forget anything that's about the content of something, do a copyright on it. So you can write a book on it. Never, ever worry about trying to sell it as a book because you did it as protection, but you could also sell it as a book, right? Because it is a book. Another thing that you do is not just your processes, but for example, methods that you teach. Any kind of formula that you use, you can write that out in detail and copyright it as a book. And now that content that you're sharing with everybody is now copywritten. And then if you don't want them to use the same name that you use for it, then that's when you trademark the name. Okay. So yeah, that was great, Cheryl. Thank you for that. Okay, announcements. If you want the show in your inbox, you will get a reminder to hop on YouTube. You will get, after the show early afternoon, I'll say around noon Eastern time, you will get the show notes and a link to the replay in your email inbox. Go to shaycannon.com/show. Get the show in your inbox, okay? We had a free training last week in the group, shaycannon.info/group, about getting your business ready for an affiliate program. And that goes along with this month's affordable workshop plus challenge series, which is on day 2 tonight, but it's not too late for you to join us. We got one more day. You got time to watch both the replays from yesterday and last week, the workshop and challenge day 1 before challenge day 2 tonight or challenge day 3 tomorrow. So go ahead and sign up, shaycannon.com/affiliate. Today, as I showed you, is the last day to vote on movie club night. So go in the group and vote. We close down the voting after today. And so tomorrow we'll know what movie we're watching on Thursday night. Okay. And it's not too late because at the end of the day, I start watching the movie at 4 o'clock on Thursdays and then I'm ready at 7 o'clock. Okay. So join us for that. Any questions before we get out of here? Let me check on YouTube to make sure nobody's talking about it. Chantilly said, I love the idea of using your processes as a book. Yeah, copyright that thing. All right. All right, guys. Nobody's asking a question. Last call for alcohol. Okay, tomorrow we're talking about the protections of cybersecurity. So if you ain't tuned in no other day because you thought you knew about the insurance and you thought you knew about the legal, tune in tomorrow for cybersecurity because I bet you it's something in there that's going to surprise you. Okay, so all right, studio is closing in 5, 4, 3, 2,